Hello YouTube, my name is Daniel and welcome to the fourth episode in my Jetpack Compose Notes app series. So in the last video we created the notes detail page. In this video we're going to create the note edit page. So in our UI package we want to right click and create a new package called note edit, and inside there we want to create a new Kotlin class / file, and we will call this edit note. We can remove the class body and start creating our composable. We're going to add the same suppressed lint annotation that we added in the previous class, and that is unused material scaffold padding parameter. And underneath that we can add the composable annotation and start creating our composable. This will be called note edit screen. This will take 4 parameters. The first one being a note ID, which will be an int. The second will be the nav controller. The third will be the view model. Inside here we first need to initialize some values. The first will be our coroutine scope. Next we need our note. And we can place our placeholder, constant.note detail placeholder. We just need to run these imports. Next we need to define our properties for each individual object within the note, and we need this so we can react to any changes in those note details in our composable. So first we need to have the note body, and we'll just call this note body. So first off we need to initialize the state of the current note, and this is because we need to keep track of those details and then update them if anything gets edited on this screen. The first one will be the current note. And this will be, remember, mutable state of note.value.note. And we can copy and paste this a few times for the other values. So we will have the title, photos, and then another mutable state, which will be the save button state. So the next one will be current title, and that will be note.value.title. The next one will be current photos, and that will be note.value.image URI. The next state will be saved button state, and that will be mutable state of false, as we initially don't want to show that button, but if anything changes in the notes details we do want to show the button. The next value will be our get image request. So this is a activity result contract that we will launch so the user can go into their camera directory or their gallery and select a photo. We can then use that photo in our notes. and this will be remember launcher for activity result. The contract is activity results contracts dot open document. I'm just going to add a bit more space here. The onResult is going to be a function body, and that will give us a URI. And then we're going to check if the URI is not null. We want to execute the get URI persistable permission function. So get UI permission, pass the UI. Then we can call current photos dot value equals URI to string. Then if the current photos value is not equal to note dot value dot image URI, then we want the save button state to be true as the image has changed, so we should be saving the note. That'll be save button state dot value. We then want to launch another coroutine to get the values for our note. We can then use the coroutine scope, pass in the dispatcher. And we want to assign the note.value to viewModel.getNote, pass in the note ID. If the note ID is null, we'll just pass in 0, so it will return a null note. If it returns a null object, we will just return the placeholder. And then we've got those details, we can go ahead and initialize the current note values. So current note, current title, and current photos. That will equal note.value.note. Note.value.title and note.value.imageURI. Now we've set up all the needed prerequisites for creating this composable. We can now go ahead and lay out the UI. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the app bar from the previous composable in the note detail, as it will be pretty much the same. So we've had the photo notes theme with our surface and the color for the background, and then we will have a scaffold. The generic app bar will stay the same. The title will be edit note. On the icon, we want to have an icon, and the icon will be the save icon. So r.drawable save. The string will be save note. Color will still remain black. On icon clip, we won't be navigating, but we will be saving the note details. And that will be viewModel.update note, and then we're going to pass in the note. The ID will be note.value.id. The Note will be note.value.note, and the title note.value.title, and then we just need the image note.value.image URI, and that will be our note, and that will go ahead and be saved in our DB when the user clicks it. And after that has been completed, we want to move back on the screen, so this will go back to the note detail page, and that will show our updated note. So we can do that by calling navcontroller.pop_. The icon state will be our saved button state, and just make sure that this is imported here and it's got the correct annotation, and that should get rid of any errors for the column. Then in our app bar, we want to add a floating action button, so that will be done after the icon state. So that will be done after the top app bar, so we need to put a comma after this curly brace here, and then we can start adding our floating action button. So we open up brackets, and then we want to create our fab button. This is a composable which we'll create later. So notes fab, and then we need to pass in a content description, which will be the description of the fab button, and that will just be string resource, and the ID will be r.string.addPhoto. And we'll just separate these onto different lines. Then after that, we need to pass in the action, which will be getImageRequest.launch, and then we can pass in the type of content that we want the user to select, and we just want images. So that will be image/star, and this needs to be in an array, so array of. There we go. And the next one will be the icon, which will be our camera drawable. So r.drawable.camera. And this composable will be completed in another episode, but I'm just adding this here for now. And now we can get started on the column. So for the column modifier, we want to add some padding. And this needs to be before the fill max size. And the padding will be 12 dp. Then for this image, we will have a similar function, but it won't be checking the note.value, it will be checking the current photos.value. So if current photos.value is not null and current photos.value is not empty, we will have the same image request here to load the image, but we're going to pass the current photos dot value here, and we want to add a small bit of padding. To the image, which will be 6 dp. Just make sure we spell padding correctly. And the content scale will still be crop. And we can get rid of these text widgets here because we won't be using these, we'll be using text fields. And the first text field will be for our title. And this would be similar to edit text in XML. The value for this will be current title dot value and the color will be text field defaults dot text field colors, and then we can pass in the cursor color, which will be color dot black, and the focused label color, which will also be black. In the onValue changed, we want to pass a function body. Make sure you add a comma here, and then we can access the value in the lambda function. And when that changes, we want to assign the current title value to that value. And then we want to check if the current title dot value is not equal to note dot value dot title. Then we want to show the save button as the status of the title is changed, and that'll be save button dot value equals true. And also, if any details haven't changed across the whole note, we want to hide that save button by setting it to false. We can do this by checking else if the current note dot value equals note dot value dot note, and the current title dot value equals note dot value dot title. If those two conditions are true, then we want to hide the save button. So save button state dot value equals false. Just going to make this a bit more organized. Then after the onValue changed, we want to add the label, and the label will be the title of the text field, and that will be our title. So that will be a text widget with the string title. Now we want to add a spacer between this text field and the next text field. And we just need to add some padding to this. And that will be 12 dp. And now we can go ahead and copy and paste this and just change it for the note. So text field, this one will have the current note dot value. We'll still have the same colors here. For the onValue change, we want to update the current note. And then we're going to check if the current note dot value is not equal to note value dot note, and the save button state will be set to true. And this condition here will stay the same, just making sure that the save button doesn't show if it's not needed. And then the label will just change to body. And now with the note edit screen completed, we can actually go ahead and create the note create screen. As it will be very similar, we can literally just copy and paste this page and change a few details. This will be created in a new package under the UI package, and that will be called note create. And then we just want to add a new Kotlin class /file, and that will be called create note. And we can just copy and paste that code. We'll just change the screen name to create note screen. We're not going to be passing a note ID as we will not have one, but we do still want the nav controller and the view model. We do not need a coroutine scope as we won't be making any requests in this page. We do not need a note value as we don't need a placeholder. We will still have a current note, current title and current photos, but these will be initialized as empty strings as we will not have those details. Get image request will stay pretty much the same. We just gotta remove some of this logic. We're still going to do the permissions request for that URI, but we're just going to assign the current photos.value to the URI. We do not need to launch any effect here or any coroutines, so we can remove that code. While I'm doing this, just make sure you remove any imports that we no longer need, just to clean up the code a bit. And then for the composable, we're still going to be using the photo notes theme. And the title for the app bar will change to create note. The on icon click will change to viewmodel.createNote. And we won't be passing a note object, we'll be passing the objects individually. So we can pass in the current title, the current note, and the current photos. Once that's done, we still want to pop the backstack and navigate to the previous screen, which will be the list screen, and then we will see the notes pop into the list. The icon will still be the save button, and the icon state will be save button state. So nothing is changing there. The floating action button will still stay the same. We will still have the same padding on the column. And for this if check, we're just going to check whether the current value is not empty, as this will already be initialized. And this will be passing the same URI, and nothing will change on the modifier or the content description. And now we can get started on the text fields. So this one will still be the title. We will have the same text field colors, but we want the modifier to fill max width. As we want it to stretch across the whole screen. Don't forget to add in the comma. The label will still be title, and then for the on value changed, we want to assign the current title value to the value, and then we might as well just remove this logic and just write it fresh. So current title value, so current title.value will equal the value of the changed text in this composable, and then we can change the save button state dot value. It's going to equal current title dot value is not equal to empty string, and the current note dot value is not equal to empty string, as we want both items to have some sort of text in it before we will save the note. We still want the spacer here, adding 12 dp of padding between each text field. This will still contain the current note value, and then we want to add a modifier for this, just so it takes up more of the screen. So firstly, we want to fill max height for 0.5, so we want to fill half the height of the screen, and we want to also fill the max width, and just add a comma. The colors will remain the same, and then for the on value changed, current node.value will still equal the value in this composable, and then we just need to add this save button.value change here, so that if any of the items have changed, we will show that save button, and then they can save the note. The label of this will still be body, and that is everything for the create note page. So I'm going to end the video here, guys. In this video, we created the note create page and also the note edit page. In the next video, we're going to work on the notes list. If you have any questions, please post them down in the comments. Please like the video and please subscribe.